Stories around Cauldron Lake are varied and bear the DNA of various cultural traditions. Most of what we have seen relates to local folklore or from the workings of literary bodies. Tales of walking trees, werewolves, haunted houses, and Sasquatch are easy to come across. Stories by Alan Wake are in their own category. But there are many stories that pre-existed the settlement of this Washington area in the 19th century. Different native tribes were abundant in the areas. Previously, we discussed the relevance of the Lummi tribe in the region, aka the Lakhtamish or the People of the Sea. But not all tribes had the same stories. Some are more commonly known than others because of oral traditions. Without it being written down, some stories are known only to those they have been imparted to. As a result, when Cauldron Lake reacts to these stories, it can be hard to parse out what specifically is happening. Or in the case of the Feathered Serpent sightings, the event can be misinterpreted as being something other than what it was. According to Clay Steward, reports of a great lake creature arose in the years around 1978 and 1979. At the time, the locals referred to it as Quetzalcoatl, after the Aztec sky god. This is because, for the local residents, stories of this deity were far more widespread in the cultural consciousness than stories told by local tribes. Stories that, again, were largely oral in nature and not known to many. However, due to their proximity to the lake for centuries before settlement in the 19th century, the local stories are far more relevant. When these sightings occurred, the local tribe staged public protest for the ignorance of the Bright Falls townsfolk. Chief Tom Steerchaser was quoted as saying, "Not only is that a Southwest and a Mexican thing, but the Quetzalcoatl isn't even a monster. It's an Aztec deity. It's a sky god. It's not supposed to be some scary thing." He then goes on to explain their local stories have plenty of scary stuff not related to sea monsters. When questioned, Chief Deerchaser discussed a spirit-touched state that the youth experienced during their rite of passage, claiming that stories of monsters and ghost stories are for entertainment only. However, he did direct the interviewer to speak to the Quinault tribe, who resides further south. They apparently had stories of sea creatures. This is where the entry ends. No specifics about the identity of the sea serpent was dictated in the Alan Wake files. During my own independent research, I could not uncover much of anything related to Quinault legends. Only a few mentions of a trickster deity named Blue Jay and an entity named Misp, who transformed the land, the people, and the animals into the form they are in today. I was unable to find any written records of sea creatures mentioned by the local chief. This is likely due to the oral nature of these stories that never got written down. But even if we don't know them, the land does. More specifically, if these stories were told over and over in the proximity of Cauldron Lake, it would remember. However, there is still the question if this is what people witnessed back in 1978. If it wasn't, then we may need to look at different options. There is another explanation that would align with other events happening at the same time. According to the FBC, there was an AWE event that year that involved the Anderson brothers. While the details of what occurred were not discussed, it lines up with the release of their final album, In the Valley of My Shadow. Their previous album was released 2 years prior and also lines up with a different AWE event that was documented, this one named The Black Rider Cometh. During that event, the Anderson brothers fought off the Scratching Hag and her army of Taken. It would make sense if the Scratching Hag was this Black Rider within their songs. This begs the question, was this Feathered Serpent summoned as part of their subsequent album? If so, this could be a different giant serpent from a different myth system. Since they base everything off of Norse mythology, it could possibly be Jormungandr, the world serpent. After all, Quetzalcoatl is not the only serpent deity in mythology. Or was this sea monster related to the Quinault legends and arose from the lake at the exact same time by sheer coincidence? The confusion over what specifically this creature was causing the story to degrade and veer off into different directions until its manifestation ceased. It is frankly hard to say given the little information we have. But this event should act as a reminder that a single image can be interpreted through the lens of various cultures. One sees a serpent and perceives a benevolent sky god. Another sees the devil incarnate. More tales portray them as bearers of wisdom, and others simply monsters to be slain. Even if these stories are unknown to us, they have power in the collective consciousness of those who do. If they are told in the region of the Pacific Northwest, they are relevant to Cauldron Lake. It makes you wonder how many lost stories have made its way into the dark depths of the lake.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe to receive updates on future uploads. If you would like to help support the channel, a Patreon has been set up and the link is in the description below. Have a great day and peace be with you all.